WWE has always been a magnet for spectacle, a place where athleticism, storytelling, and pure entertainment collide in the most unpredictable ways. From the blood-stained canvas of the Attitude Era to the modern-day pyrotechnics of WrestleMania stadium shows, the squared circle has seen battles that have defined careers and altered the course of wrestling history. Over the years, the ring has hosted moments of heartbreak and triumph, betrayal and redemption, pain and poetry. It's where icons are born and legacies are cemented. But above all, it's a space where greatness is tested and, sometimes, achieved. And through it all, one voice has remained constant. The voice of the fans. They are the lifeblood of this business. They cheer, they boo, they chant, they cry, and they remember. Because no matter how much time passes, great matches live forever in the hearts of those who witnessed them. So when it comes to naming the greatest WWE matches of all time, it's not about corporate rankings or backstage opinions. It's about the people, the millions who pack arenas, flood social media, and wear their wrestling passion like a badge of honor. And now, they've spoken. They've looked back across decades of action. They've relived classics from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and every WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and SummerSlam in between. They've debated late into the night, argued over near falls and finishing moves, and finally cast their votes. The result? A list that doesn't just capture athletic excellence, it captures emotion. It captures those matches that made hearts race and jaws drop. It celebrates those nights when the lights burned brightest and the performers rose highest. Because wrestling, at its core, is more than moves and finishes. It's moments. It's the roar when The Undertaker sat up after a tombstone. It's the shock when Seth Rollins cashed in at WrestleMania. It's the silence when Shawn Michaels retired Ric Flair with an, "I'm sorry, I love you." It's Edge returning from retirement. It's the Hardys leaping from ladders. It's Daniel Bryan holding both titles at WrestleMania XXX with a crowd that willed him to victory. These aren't just matches. They're emotional flashpoints, time capsules of passion, perseverance, and performance. And when the fans look back, they see magic. They remember Bret Hart vs. Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13, the double turn, the bloodied face, the defiant scream. That wasn't just a match. That was a revolution. They remember Mick Foley being tossed from the Hell in a Cell like a rag doll, only to climb back up. That was insanity. That was commitment. That was legend making. They think about CM Punk vs. John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011, where the entire future of WWE seemed to hang in the balance. The energy, the stakes, the explosion when Punk kissed Vince goodbye. They go back to The Rock vs. Hogan, icon vs. icon, a match that defied generations and united them in awe. And of course, there's Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25, a perfect blend of pacing, drama, and storytelling. A match that some still call the greatest ever. They remember Sasha Banks vs. Bayley in NXT, the match that proved women can not only headline but can steal the whole damn show. And how could they forget Kurt Angle vs. Shawn Michaels, the technical masterpiece that blended intensity with elegance. These matches were not just athletic contests. They were emotional roller coasters. Theater in its purest form. And sometimes, the best matches weren't even about titles. Sometimes it was about pride, like Triple H vs. Cactus Jack in a street fight at Royal Rumble 2000, a brutal, bloody war that redefined both men. Or revenge, like Becky Lynch vs. Charlotte Flair vs. Ronda Rousey, the first women's WrestleMania main event. A moment built on history, politics, and pain. And when the fans made their choices, they didn't forget tag team wrestling either. They honored TLC 2 at WrestleMania X7, Edge, Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys turning ladders into weapons and storytelling tools. They remembered when Cesaro and Sheamus tore it down with the Usos. Or when DIY clashed with the Revival, in matches that reminded everyone how precise and powerful tag team wrestling can be. Fans also looked at the underrated gems, the forgotten classics that may not have headlined but left lasting impressions. Like Eddie Guerrero vs. Rey Mysterio at Halloween Havoc, 97. Like AJ Styles vs. John Cena at the Royal Rumble. Like Gunther vs. Sheamus at Clash at the Castle, a modern-day brawl that felt timeless. They didn't forget the Iron Men either. They remembered Shawn Michaels vs. Bret Hart, 60 minutes of skill, sweat, and sheer will. They remembered Bayley and Sasha going 30 minutes in an Iron Woman match that reshaped how the industry viewed its women. They even embraced the cinematic, The Undertaker vs. AJ Styles in a Boneyard match that turned the pandemic into art. They cherished Brock Lesnar vs. Roman Reigns vs. Seth Rollins, the chaos, the shock, the Rollins cash in that turned everything upside down. They respected Roman Reigns vs. Jey Uso, a story of blood, loyalty, and manipulation that felt Shakespearean in scope. Every generation has their favorite. Some will never get over Savage vs. Steamboat, a match that brought choreography and emotion together like never before. Others swear by Cena vs. Edge in a TLC match where passion met chaos. Some fans still debate HBK vs. Taker at both WrestleMania 25 and 26. Two masterclasses, each unforgettable in their own right. And yet others will point to Daniel Bryan's rise in 2014, culminating in a triple threat that gave the people exactly what they wanted. It's proof that wrestling greatness isn't confined to one era or one style. It's the fans that decide. It's the people who felt something, who stood up, shouted, cried, smiled, and never forgot. They carried these matches in their hearts. They wore the t-shirts, rewatched the replays, quoted the promos. Because when wrestling is great, it's not just entertainment, it becomes a part of your life. It shapes childhoods. It builds friendships. It becomes a language we all speak. So when the fans voted on the best matches of all time, they weren't just choosing events. They were choosing memories, emotions, connections. They were choosing moments that made them feel alive. And in that sense, wrestling is more than just scripted sport. It's a shared mythology. A living storybook, told one match at a time. And the fans, they are its authors, its critics, its champions. So here's to the matches that made us chant, "This is awesome." Here's to the classics that still give us chills. And here's to the fans, the ones who watched, believed, and remembered. Because without them, there is no WWE. And without those matches, those unforgettable, jaw-dropping, soul-stirring matches, there is no magic.